The whisper that said, just 1% more. A story about small changes and silent strength. There was a time when I wanted to change everything, all at once. I wanted to wake up one day and see a brand new life staring back at me, stronger, happier, more successful, more perfect. But perfection has a cruel trick. It whispers, if you can't do it all, don't do it at all. Until one morning, when that voice grew too heavy, another whisper rose inside me. It was quiet, but clear. Just 1% more. I didn't know it then, but that whisper would change everything. Long ago, or maybe not so long ago, there lived a young man named Aaron. He lived in a small mountain village where the days felt the same, and the future felt far away. Each morning, Aaron looked into the mirror and saw the same reflection, tired eyes, unfinished dreams, and a heart that whispered, tomorrow. I'll start tomorrow. He had big plans, learning a new craft, reading, growing stronger, being kinder. But big plans are heavy when you try to carry them all at once. So instead, he carried guilt, the weight of not yet. Until one morning, as he watched the sunrise break over the hills, something shifted. He didn't hear thunder or see a sign, just a soft, steady whisper in his mind. You don't need to change your life today. Just 1% more. At first, Aaron laughed. 1%? What difference could that make? But still, he tried. That morning, instead of staying in bed for another hour, he stood up and walked to the well before dawn. Just a few steps more. Just a little earlier. The next day, he read one page of the old book he had been avoiding for years. One page, not the whole chapter. He was not faster, stronger, or wiser yet. But something inside him was moving, slow, small, but real. And every time that old voice returned, the one that said, "You're too far behind," he answered with the new one. Just 1% more. Days became weeks. He didn't always see results. Sometimes, he failed. There were mornings when the well felt farther, when the pages blurred before his eyes. But still, he whispered. Just 1% more. And over time, something magical began to happen, not around him, but within him. The whisper that once felt small began to sound like strength. He wasn't chasing perfection anymore, he was building consistency. And consistency, like water over stone, shapes everything it touches. Seasons passed, and the villagers began to notice. Aaron no longer looked restless. His steps were quiet but certain, his eyes calm but alive. His hands, once unsure, now created pottery so balanced and beautiful that travelers would stop just to watch him work. "How did you learn this?" they would ask. He would smile, brushing the clay from his fingers and say, 1% at a time. They laughed, thinking it was a joke, but to him, it was a prayer. Because the secret was never about clay or craft. It was about becoming. About choosing progress over perfection, patience over pressure. And on the day he looked at his reflection again, Aaron saw something new. Not a man who had arrived, but one who kept walking. The old voice of doubt still whispered sometimes, but now, it had an answer waiting. Just 1% more. Years later, a boy asked Aaron, "How do you stay so calm? So sure?" He smiled, handed the boy a small pot, uneven, imperfect, but sturdy, and said, "Because I learned that strength doesn't shout. It whispers. And when you listen, truly listen, to that whisper, it says, you don't have to change the world today. Just grow a little closer to who you were meant to be." Moral and reflection. The greatest transformations don't come from giant leaps. They come from small steps, repeated with love and patience. The sun rises 1 degree at a time, yet it lights the whole world. So if you feel behind, tired, or lost, remember Aaron's whisper. Just 1% more. Not perfect. Not finished. Just present and becoming. Follow this channel if you wish to learn English through stories that teach, heal, and transform. Stories that remind you that language, like growth, begins one word and 1% at a time.
English learning class. just 1% more. Hello, dear learner. Today's story, The Whisper That Said, Just 1% More, reminds us of something simple and powerful. That small steps, taken every day, create great change over time. And in English, we can express this beautiful idea through vocabulary, grammar, and reflection. 1. Vocabulary. Words of growth. Word, expression meaning example sentence. Whisper. A soft voice, gentle and calm. A small whisper can change your direction. Progress. Slow, steady improvement. Progress is better than perfection. Consistency. Doing something regularly. Consistency builds confidence. Patience. Calm waiting without giving up. Learning English takes patience. Step by step. Little by little, gradually. She improved her English step by step. Notice how these words describe not only actions, but attitudes. They are the language of calm strength. 2. Grammar focus, habit and progress. Grammar pattern. A little more each day. This expresses habitual, continuous improvement. Every day, I read one more page. He walks a little farther each morning. She speaks English a little more confidently every week. Try it yourself. Complete this sentence. Every day, I try to, just 1% more. Example. Every day, I try to believe in myself just 1% more. 3. Reflection, the language of kindness. In English, we often say, slow progress is still progress. That's not only good language, it's good life. Because improvement doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it whispers, just 1% more. So today, don't try to speak perfectly. Just say one more word. Learn one new phrase. Be 1% more confident than yesterday. Remember, language grows like a tree. You water it a little each day, and one day, it blooms. Follow this channel if you want to learn English through stories that teach, inspire, and transform. One word, one lesson, 1% at a time.